Today I'm going to show you how to create a poster using Microsoft Word. There's actually a lot of graphic things that you can do within Microsoft Word. Today we're only going to barely touch on them. We're actually going to use fonts to create our different graphics and things that we want to do. So when I use Microsoft Word for a graphic function, I like to use it if you go to the View toolbar, to choose the publishing layout. And it comes in this format so that you can make a lot of text boxes and shift things around. It just is an easier format to work in. I've gone ahead and I've adjusted my margins to be the outside of the page. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to Insert and I'm going to select a picture. Oops, sorry, not auto shape. I'm going to select let's get rid of that. I'm going to select a picture from a file that I already have. We're going to select let's go chalkboard background. This is a background that I have used before, so it's already on my computer. You can find a bunch of pictures on the internet that you could use as well. This green ball at the top allows you to adjust and move pictures. Today we're just going to use this picture to cover our entire page. So we're going to keep it nice and straight, but we're going to extend the edges of the picture to go to the edge of our page. The topic of our poster today is taken from the Jesus Passages by Ron Gannett. The premise of this book is that we all have opinions about who Jesus is, but who does he say he is and what does the Bible say? So all of the passages of the Bible that have Jesus in it are broken down into journal entries that you can read for yourself what the Bible says about Jesus. The one that we've picked to do today is a poster I've done before for them. It's a new commandment in John 13, and it's about love. I thought it was very fitting since Valentine's Day is coming up. We want to show that this passage is from the Jesus Passages, so we're going to take a text box, and I'm going to select that using this bar up here. We're going to create a text box, and we're going to use a font that is called, right here, it's called Adhesive number 7. You can get fonts off the internet very easily. This one I think was downloaded from a font site. Obviously, it's a little banner. It's obviously too small to see. So let's change our font size to 110. And when you get this little A on your text box, it means the picture is, or the item in the text box is still there. It's just too large to be viewed. So you just got to make your text box a little bit wider. Obviously, black on black isn't going to work. So if you highlight your text, this basically is just text, even though it's a shape. We're going to change it into a pale pink. Okay. Now, because it is text, you can manipulate it in the same way that you would a font. Because it's a font. So this banner is too narrow for what we want. So we're going to go down to the text widening and just widen it and lengthen it a little bit. Now, on top of this picture, we want to put some words. So we're actually going to create another text box on top of it. Now, when we do that, what's going to happen is the text box will be layered on top of each other, but we want to be able to view, and we don't want to interfere with what is happening in the layer below us. And so to do that, we are going to come down to wrapping, and we're going to select under style, we're going to select none. So where they do not, this one is tight, it means you can have the pictures one in front of the other or wrapped the text around it. This one we're just going to have them so that you can see both at the same time. I'm going to choose to write on here with another font I like for chalkboards. It's a Song for Jennifer, bold. And we're going to change it to, let's try 18 and see how that looks. We're going to put Jesus Passage number 226. As you can see, the writing is not centered on the banner, but that is easy to change. Because it is in its own text box, it can be shifted around. So all we need to do is line it up where we would like it. Now, seeing as this is a love passage and it's close to Valentine's Day, let's make a Valentine's Day connection and create a heart. I'm thinking a conversation heart, like the candies. So to do that, let's create a new text box, and we're going to choose, once again, we need to wrap it. And once again, we're going to choose another font that is actually, I think it's just called Hearts. Here it is, heart shape. I'm going to choose, let's see here, this heart shape should work for us. We're going to make it obviously much bigger. Let's try making it 110. Let's see what happens. If you get that A shape, it means we need to widen our text box to view the heart. Oh, there we go. And oh, that might be the perfect size for it. Now let's change the color of our heart. Nobody wants a black heart. Let's come down here. Now the color palette gives you a lot of text colors to pick one, but if you want to be more specific, you can go to more colors. There's a whole spectrum of colors, and sometimes as you're going around selecting, it can be a little hard to tell or to move to be closer. This little symbol right here, when you click on it, you can actually go pixel by pixel to pick the color that you think would be best. We're going to pick a conversation heart color, so let's try a pink like that. And then let's put another text box on top of it and do some writing, trying to use a font, once again wrap, that would be similar to that which would be on a conversation heart. I'm going to choose American Typewriter. And there we've created a little conversation heart at the top, and I've used, if Jesus was going to send us a conversation heart, wouldn't he say, be mine? We're going to create a similar thing, a ribbon, down at the bottom of the page. We went ahead, and made a ribbon to identify where this information is from at thejesuspassages.com. So we have our labels on our poster. The next thing we want to do is we want to take the passage that we're talking about from the book. And so we're going to create a new text box, and I'm going to use a font for this that is another font that is really nice on a chalkboard setting. It's called KG Second Chances Sketch. In that, I'm going to change our font color to that same pale pink, and I'm going to change the size, and I'm going to type out the verse. To do this, I don't want to have jagged edges on the edge of my poster. I want it to be nicely blocked. So I'm actually going to change the spacing to the block right there and type out my verse. There it is. I've typed out my verse now. It says, a new command I give you, love one another as I have loved you, so you must love one another. This is a new command that Jesus gave us in the New Testament. We want to show, our poster wants to show a visual representation of what that verse means. So what we're going to do is, Jesus gave us a better way to love. So we're going to choose a font that has ribbons, like ribbons that you would win in an awards contest. We're going to create a text box, and there's a font in here, and it's called KG. I got it off the internet. It's called KG Flavor and Frames, and it has a ribbon on it. Let's go. There it is. It is small. Let's make that bigger. Let's try 150, make that really big. And let's find a pale pink. I'm going to go to our colors and select pink. I've already pre-selected. There we go. Find a pale pink for it. And there we have our ribbon. In the same way, I'm going to create 2 more ribbons. As you can see, we now have 3 ribbons created. Each one is a gradually brighter color, starting with the pale pink to a bright pink to a red at the end. And they also graduate in size. This one was 150 size font to 230 to 300. And we want to show that the ways of loving get bigger and better. They get better as we go along. So there's 3 ways to love. There's the way the world tells us to love, which is going to be the small one, because in the Old Testament told us an even better way to love. The world says to love, but the Old Testament told us to love your neighbor as you love yourself. But Jesus came along and he said something even better. He said, love as I have loved you. And who loves us more than Jesus in a more sacrificial way than he does? So I'm going to create text boxes below and within each of these ribbons to portray the message that we want to convey. So for the text box, once again, when I create it inside, oops, hold on one second, let me get a text box. Create it inside the ribbon. Once again, we're going to have to click the wrapping, but then we can type in it just like any font we want, and it'll show within that ribbon. I'm going to do that for you now. So there you have it. I've added text boxes and text inside of them. I used A Song for Jennifer, the same font that we used up here. Another thing that I wanted to mention about up here we kept it as a black font, but usually if I'm doing on a chalkboard, I like to change it from a black to actually a dark gray. It just gives it a softer more look, and it actually matches the background a little bit better than the stark black would that you would imagine. But here on our ribbons are finished. We've shown that the world tells us to love, that the Old Testament tells us to love our neighbor as ourselves, but the best way to love is the New Testament, where Jesus tells us, love as I have loved you. So as it grows, when we think of ribbons, we think of excellence. So we are going to show that the New Testament is a new standard of excellence, and that's what we're going to make our title. So I'm going to use a text box at the top. I'm actually going to create our title in 2 text boxes. One is going to be for the first line and then another one for the second line. I'll show you why in a second. We're going to use the same font that we used down at the bottom for the verse, KG Second Chances. We're going to make it larger, of course, to a 28, and we're going to make it the same pale pink color. And it is a new standard of excellence. Now that's what I have written, but I didn't change the font size. Let me change that. We're going to go to a 28. There we go. Okay, we actually are going to take out that word excellence. We're going to make it a new standard of, and I'm going to create a new text box for excellence, and I'll show you in just a second. There, as you can see, I now have both text boxes, the first one with the first line, a new standard of, and the bottom one, once again, we're going to have to wrap them there. And then I did them in 2 text boxes so that you can get them as close and play with them. Maybe you want them staggered. In this case, we want them on top of each other, but we want them close together so they seem like one unit together. And these seem like one unit. And then once again, we need our application at the bottom. This is our title. This picture represents what our passage is about. And what does that mean for us? Let's create a text box at the bottom to say what this verse means for you and me. Down at the bottom, I wanted to keep some unity in the pit poster, so I used the same font as the title. We're going to make it slightly different by italicizing it. What does this verse mean for us? Well, one way we can apply this verse is to surprise, let's say, your Valentine. How do we do that? Well, perhaps you could put their needs first, or make a sacrifice for them. You know what? Let's make it a purpose or a plan to sacrifice something for our Valentines today. Sacrifice something. Wouldn't that be showing God's love? Let's make that there. And there you have it, guys. You've created a poster that shows, using in Microsoft Word, using just fonts to create a message with it as a visual. You could take this poster and you could post it on Pinterest or Facebook. The Jesus Passages has a site on Facebook as well as a website where they post some of these messages. But yeah, it's very simple to create. So well done, guys, and thanks for watching.